So remind me, how do we normally recognize a receiver?
With our receiver labels. So, an, aini, ina, atin.
Good. So normally we recognize a receiver based on the receiver labels, an, aini, ina, atin. So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at a small exception to that.
Okay.
And that is when you have pronouns acting as receivers. Do you know what a pronoun is?
A type of noun?
It is a type of noun.
So words like him, she, it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Words like he, she, it, they, those are pronouns. So a pronoun is just a word that refers back to a word that was mentioned before. So for example, if I said, I went to the store, it was crowded, the word it refers back to
The store.
the store, right? So a pronoun is just a word like he, she, it, they, him, her, that refers back to something mentioned previously. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is the deal with pronouns? So when a pronoun acts as a receiver, let's look at some examples here. So Ahmed saw him. Can you find the pronoun in there for me?
Him.
Him, yes. So him is our pronoun here, and it's acting as what?
The receiver.
The receiver. What about mom fed her?
Her.
Her is the pronoun here, and it's acting as the
Receiver.
receiver. What about the landlord evicted me?
Me.
Me is the pronoun, and it's acting as the
Receiver.
receiver. So here we have a bunch of pronouns acting as receivers.
Looks pretty normal to me.
It looks normal because it's normal in English,
Oh.
but not quite in Arabic. Because what's different about pronouns in Arabic? It's that they. So the one thing that characterizes pronouns in Arabic is that they don't accept labels.
What do you mean?
So you know our labels that we looked at? Un, ani, una, atun, an, aini, ina, atin.
Yeah.
Pronouns don't take those labels.
Okay.
Right, so you'll never see, for example, hum un or hum en.
Okay.
Right, pronouns just stay as is. They don't like to change. They don't accept labels. And what kind of problem is that going to pose for us?
How do we know if they're receiver or not if they don't have receiver labels?
Yeah, because we rely on the receiver labels to figure out if something is a receiver, right? But these don't take labels, so how are we going to figure out that they are the receiver? And the rule is actually pretty simple. So the way you figure out that a pronoun is a receiver is this one simple rule. If a pronoun attaches to an action, it's a receiver. That's it.
If a pronoun attaches to an action, it's the receiver.
Yep.
A pronoun on an action is always the receiver?
Yep. Pronoun attaching to an action is always the receiver. So let's look at an example here.
So there are no exceptions to this?
No exceptions. Right? Pronoun attached to action, always a receiver. That's
Okay.
it.
You're not going to tell me later that there's an exception to this?
No promise.
Okay.
So let's look at an example here. خَلَقَكُمُ Find me my action.
Well, we know the action is always the first word in the sentence, right? So khalaqa.
Right. خَلَقَ is our action. And then what's kum?
Kum is a pronoun.
Right. Kum is a pronoun. And it's a pronoun attaching to a
Action.
action. And what do we know about pronouns that attach to actions?
Pronouns attaching to actions are always receivers.
Good. So kum is gonna be a
Receiver.
receiver, even though we don't see a receiver label on it.
Yes, because pronouns don't take labels, right?
Right. Pronouns don't take labels. The way we know that they're receivers is by the fact that they're attaching to
The action.
an action. Right. That's it. So kum is attached to khalaqa, which is an action. So automatically we know that it's a receiver. And what are we going to do with the last part of the sentence? Allahu.
Who is a doer label?
Yeah, the u is a doer label. So the word Allah is a
Doer.
doer. And then what do we know about translating from Arabic to English? What order do we translate in?
Doer, action, receiver.
Doer, action, receiver. So we're going to translate this as Allah created you all. Right? Allah created you all. Doer, action, receiver. We clear?
So even though the word Allah is the very last word in the Arabic, it's the very first word in the English?
Yeah, the sequence is consistent in English. It's always doer, action, receiver, so that's always how you're going to translate.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how do we know that khalaqakum, the whole thing, is not our action? Because it looks like one word.
You know, because you have your pronouns memorized, right?
So
Chapter 1 vocab.
So the only way to recognize a pronoun that is by memorizing it.
Yes.
So it, even though it's like looks like it's one word because they're connected, we know that it's a pronoun just by because we memorize our pronouns.
Yes, because you memorize your pronouns. And it's really important to memorize your pronouns. They occur everywhere, all the time. Very common, so you should have them down, solid.
Okay.
Okay. Ready for another example?
Yeah.
Okay, جاءكم رسول. جاءكم رسول. Help me work through this.
Ja'a is our action because it's the first word.
And how do I know that my action is not جاءكم?
Because I have my pronouns memorized,
Yes.
and I know that kum is a pronoun.
Yes, so attached pronoun attached to an action is always a...
Pronoun attached to an action is always a receiver.
Right, so kum is our
Receiver.
Kum is our receiver. And then what are we going to do with the last word? Rasulun?
Un is a doer label, so
Mhm.
rasulun is going to be doer.
Doer, right? And then how do we translate?
Doer, action, receiver.
Doer, action, receiver. So we're going to translate this as?
A messenger
A messenger
came.
came.
You all?
You all... Well, let's make it sound a bit more natural.
Came to you all?
Came to you, right? We don't say, I came her, right? You say, I came to her,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can add that in there to just smooth out the translation, right? So a
Okay.
messenger came to you all. We all clear?
Mm-hmm.
So what's our golden rule?
A pronoun attached to an action is always the receiver.
Yes, if we were to summarize this lesson in a nutshell, any pronoun attached to an action is always a receiver. Clear?
Mm-hmm.